So the other day, Bungie released an article called Bringing Challenge Back to Destiny. I figured it's high time that we actually go over it and I share my opinions. I'd like to think that my opinions on this are somewhat different because I mostly play in public matchmaking, so I have to queue up with random people in public matchmaking opposed to having a regular team that I do stuff with. So I want to share my opinions from that perspective. So let's get into it. There'll be a link in the description below to this whole article because I'm going to be skipping through to some of the more interesting parts, okay? So, the basics of high-level difficulty activity. Okay. So, adept difficulty is being removed. Hero difficulty will now be available at 1750. Now, I don't know what it means for the idea of public matchmaking. I don't know if that will still be a thing anymore. I think you can still public matchmake in hero mode, right? I'm not entirely sure. I think adept is just the basic mode, right? But let's go through it. Hero difficulty now available at 1750. That's soft cap. Legend and Master difficulties can be entered once you hit 1800, the power cap. Activity levels for Season 20, 1770 Hero, 1830 Legend, 1840 Master. We are implementing power level disadvantages to provide a better challenge curve. So basically, power level disadvantages would be like you're under a certain light. Like if you have a certain light, you're apparently 5 power levels under, 15 power levels under, 20 power levels under, 25 power levels under respectively. So even if you're overpowered in the mission, you're not overpowered in the mission because there's a soft cap at what your light can be at during these missions. Again, I don't know if these are public matchmaking at all. I feel like they still would be. I don't think Bungie planning on getting rid of public matchmaking altogether. But speaking of match game is being removed. For those of you guys that don't know, match game is the consensus that if you break a shield using the same element, there will be like an explosion and you'll be able to break it faster, all that stuff. So match game being removed is interesting because it means that there is no way to instantly break a shield anymore. It says instead, shields will now take 50% less damage across the whole game. So, I guess it evens out in a way, but at the same time, that means they're making it so elemental damage is a bit less important per se, because, or rather, it doesn't matter what element you use per se. I mean, with the builds, it might matter, but I don't know. Tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. Burns in high-level activities will be split into surges and threats. Surges increase your outgoing damage. Surges increase elemental damage dealt by 25%. Surges for high-level difficulty activities change every season based around featured damage types. Featured surge for Season of Defiance will be Durand. Okay, so Season of Defiance is, I believe, the next season we're getting officially. So it makes sense. It would be Strand for that whole season. And then they also said weekly rotating surges will be Solar and Void. Threads increase elemental damage coming from enemies by 25%. High-level activities will now also feature overcharged weapons, and overcharged weapon deal 25% more damage. Kinetic damage is also increased by 25% if using a surging subclass. Overcharged weapons can come from several sources. Currently, weapons set per activity, weapons featured at champion encounters on the seasonal artifact. Overcharges and surges do not stack. Okay, that makes it a bit. I don't know. I kind of wish they would stack, but I feel like that might make it overpowered. So let's continue reading it before we give a full judgment, okay? Overcharged weapons do not get extra damage if they are to surging. You only need one for a given damage source. Combatants are harder to stagger, and their health has been increased across the board. This is to compensate for surge and overcharge. The effect is strongest on powerful enemies and weakest on rank. And okay. What is not changing? Okay, I have a few opinions, okay, but I'll try to save them all till the end and give you guys my opinion in the end. What is not changing? Equipment is still locked on Legend and Master difficulties as well as Grandmaster. Matchmaking is still available on Hero, but closed on Legend, Master, and Grandmaster Nightfalls. Okay, that answers our question about matchmaking. Modifiers that affect enemy type, Fire Pit, for example, or Fire Team Coordination, togetherness, etc. Champion availability remained the same. Grandmaster Nightfall revived limitations, wipe conditions, and schedule stayed the same. Okay, and now we have the high scores strike back. Okay, let's see. It looked like that they are updating some strikes with new mechanics, new enemies, less sparrow friendly. Interesting. So does that mean we'll not be able to get on Sparrow as much? Working on adjusting other strikes like the inverted spiral, the presence on the Vanguard Ops playlist has been dramatically reduced. They won't be part of Nightfall rotations until, so basically the strikes that they're working on they reduce their ability to show up in the Vanguard playlet, and they won't be part of Nightfall until they are successfully tuned the way Bungie imagines them being. Okay, let's see. The playlet is now power disabled, like Gambit and Crucible. That means you won't have a damage advantage over enemies or them upon you, no matter what power level you are. Oh, okay. So if the Vanguard Ops playlist now it's power disabled and you don't have an advantage, that means no, guy, wait till the end to give you guys my opinions on this because I have quite a bit of thing to say about it. Daily rotated and weekly singles have now been removed and replaced with one random weekly search, one random daily threat. Okay. Vanguard scoring. They are adding scoring to the ops playlist. Okay, that is interesting, I guess. Because, see, Nightfall technically have scoring, but I don't know. Will scoring increase the amount of loots that are dropped? Let's see. The higher your score, the larger your Vanguard rank modifier will be. That's applied to all Vanguard modes. Vanguard challenges. You'll get increased progress for harder difficulties. You will now need to complete activities with a surging subclass. It can either be seasonal surges or nightfall. Okay, so it looks like they are trying to effectively basically weed out any quote-unquote easy mode of sorts. Okay. Nightfalls are dark and full of terrors. Battlegrounds will slowly become part of the Nightfall playlist, starting with Mars Heist Battleground. We will include others in the following seasons. 2 Surge is available. Threats dependent on the featured Nightfall. 1 featured overcharged weapons. Combatants are harder to stagger and have more health. Nightwave activity levels for Season 20. This is basically going over everything they talked about, so I'm giving a small rundown about that. Heroes 1770, Legend 1830, Master 1840, Grandmaster 1840. Again, I just also want to point out that hero stuff will have matchmaking still. Power disadvantage, hero -5, legend -15, power -20, master -20, and grandmaster -25. Maximum effectiveness per target, hero 1765, legend 1815, master 1820, grandmaster 1815. The Nightfall Weekly Challenge now requires you to obtain 200,000 points across multiple Nightfall runs rather than 100,000 points in a single one. Okay, see, this is interesting because that means you can be like one of the worst teams ever and still, eventually get. It's not like you gotta run and plow through it and then be like, teammates, why won't you faster? So that's interesting, I guess. So It looks like they're fine-tuning everything. Now, onto my opinion. I think that some of the changes they made, like the first section, they are also making the enemies stronger as a result of giving it the surges and whatnot. I I don't know. I feel like the changes kind of counteract each other or cancel each other out. Just like, hey, you'll get this new mechanic that's super powerful and can kill enemies, but we are making it so they have more health and take less damage as a result. So I don't know. It kind of balances itself out, I guess. And that's for the other changes. I guess they're interesting. If I'm being perfectly honest, Destiny 2, for me, typically, I guess I don't really know what I go to Destiny 2 per se in that regard. Because, there's certain games that you go to for like the power fantasy, that certain games that you go to like to get Dark Souls style, like super hard gameplay and stuff. I feel like if anything, Bungie's making it so you have to interact with their mechanics more for the game, which is an approach. It's definitely an approach. Maybe they'll return things in the future and whatnot based on our feedback and whatnot. So I'm going to say that I'm willing to give it a shot, okay? I'll be honest, I'm not very good at following mechanics and whatnot of video games and everything, but I'll be willing to try to give it a shot. I will try. I can't guarantee anything. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'd love to know your guys' opinions on this though, because it seems like Bungie's making, like I said, trying to almost force us in some way to use certain mechanics and whatnot. That's just how I feel a bit, which, I'm used to it. Different developers to different games have sort of their vision of what should be used in the game. And of course, developers of the game, providing they actually care about the game, like I believe Bungie honestly does care about the game, they like to see elements they designed being used. Mechanics they designed being used more, not necessarily just running through cheesing everything. So that will be interesting. Okay. I wait and see how it all works. This is definitely going to be a lot different. Which is funny because when Destiny 2 first came out, it was not the same Destiny I knew and loved, and it slowly got back to being Destiny over the years again. And now it's just changing altogether. I wonder what the changes are going to look like. But yeah, feel free to stay tuned to the channel and we will discover together what the changes will look like. And with that said, I will catch you guys in the future. Later.